Hello, it's me, Tashtari, and this is my internet television program. We are off to a slightly rocky start as I have just realized that OBS doesn't like it when I switch desktops. So I'm going to do that real quick and start the chat that's supposed to be at the bottom of the window there, and I'll be right back. Don't look at my secrets. Dum-de-dum-de-dum-dum-dum. Okay, there we go. the the chat bar may need some fine tuning in the future, but for the moment we're going to deal with it as it is. Anyway, congratulations to Jen on first. Hi, Brungo. And let's see, what else have we got? There's actually quite a few announcements to take care of before I actually start with the streaming thing here. Happy New Year, that's one of them. I've been kind of busy with school and Christmas, but I decided I was going to get back into streaming, at least in some small capacity. I forgot to publish my last Freedom Planet video, so I took care of that. I have a new desk arrangement, which is considerably less congested than the previous one, so you won't notice this, but I'll be a lot happier. We have the new stream overlay. This is something that I put nearly an hour into, so so please enjoy it. I have some new emotes since last time. I think the crab is new. I use that in a couple of Oberdin streams. Mostly, that's what it's for. I moved the hype emote to tier 2 because I don't think anybody gets it except me. But that's okay. Oh, there are some channel point changes. I moved... I created Suggest a Prediction at 1000. Unlock emote is now 220, which is cheaper than it was, and Modify emote is now 440. I want those both to be fairly cheap because emotes are fun. And Butt discovered that the fish looks good when it's thinking. I lowered the price of Steel VIP and renamed channel points to 2,500 each. Maybe these are too cheap. I don't know, but we'll see. You know, this is an experimental phase of everything. I also made the bit redeems as cheap as they can be at 10 bits each, except for on-screen celebration because that's kind of disruptive, and I want you to pay me a whole $1 for that. There you go, thinking fish. Let's see. Last stream was Freedom Planet. I think I said this already, but I really wanted to like it more than I did. It's overall kind of a C+ for me, because the graphics and sound and voice acting and everything except the gameplay were really great, and the gameplay was kind of iffy. But today, what we're doing today is Myst, which hopefully won't be iffy, because we already know that it isn't iffy, because it's a game that has been the most popular game ever made for some 7 years, I think, since its release in 1993 until it was overtaken by The Sims. I wanted to like it more than I did. What a mood. Yeah, I mean, it's very Sonic inspired, so I really wanted to like it, and the creators clearly put a whole bunch of heart into it and effort and stuff like that, and I just didn't like it, and I feel kind of bad about not liking it. Cough, Firmament, cough. Yeah, so I hear. I'm hoping that Abduction is better than Firmament. I have Abduction in the list of games that I want to play in the future. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. We'll see how this goes, and we'll see how everything goes. At the moment, we're going to see how Myst goes. Let's go see how Myst goes. Starting the game will clear, yes. Classic, yes. Here we go. I can almost recite this from memory. In fact, I think I can recite it from memory. But I won't recite it from memory. I'll let Atris do it.
I realized the moment I fell into the fissure continued falling into that starry expanse of which I had only a fleeting glimpse. I've tried to speculate where it might have landed, but I must admit that such conjecture is futile. Still, questions about whose hands might one day hold my Myst book are unsettling to me. I know my apprehensions might never be allayed, and so I close, realizing that perhaps the ending has not yet been written.
He uses so many words in that intro that are not words that I use in real life, like allayed. So many people don't watch the videos when they play this game, and that drives me nuts, so we're gonna watch this one. Can't forget to set aside 3 months in your calendar for blueprints. I don't know. We'll see. So much we'll see going on. And so I close, realizing that perhaps the ending is not yet written. All right. So because this playthrough is about Rime, I'm going to go ahead and skip most of the game. If we've got extra time later and people want me to, I'll do like a run-through of the game with commentary on this particular remake. But at the moment, I'm going to do an unskilled speed run of it, turning on all of the marker switches, because we need that for the good ending. By the way, my microphone position has changed somewhat since last time. I no longer have to hunch over to get to it. So if that's better or worse, please tell me. Also, if you see graphical glitches or anything that I can do something about, let me know. If it's anything that I can't do something about, let me stew. Okay, and to get to this last one, we have to set this guy to 240. The stream volume is lower than most, but it's balanced well. Okay, hang on, I can turn some levers up. Please hold. Steam Deck audio up a little. Scarlet mic up a little. How's this? Testing, 1, 2, 3. Cool, man. Okay, I believe that's me turning all of the marker switches on. Stream volume is hard to nail. Yeah, I mean, so many things are hard to nail about streaming. I hope to just nail about like 50% of them. We'll see how that goes. There's our white page that we need to give to Atris. Let's take a quick look at pattern 158 because I don't think I remember it from memory. Now, if I had played the game properly, it would have actually opened it for me to pattern 158. But since I'm skipping most of it, I have to flip to page 158 myself. Where's channel point I can redeem to make you call him Daddy A-Pop for the whole stream? I'm going to go ahead and not implement that. I hope you don't mind. I might do it anyway. I mean, I might say it anyway, just because it's funny, but never mind. But a real quick sketch this out on a piece of paper. You will redeem it in your heart. I think that's a good compromise. Another thing that I'm noticing about the stream that isn't going completely smoothly is that my microphone stand is very, very slowly, like the minute hand of a clock, moving downward. So I'm going to go ahead and take care of that, at least for a moment. I need to stop cheaping out when I buy microphone stands. I really do. It's not good. It's leaving. Yeah. There we go. What's the screenshot key? That wasn't it. Microphone stand was last seen playing exclamation point. Yes, it was. It's not print screen. All right, let's just see if I get this, if I sketched this correctly. I may not have, in which case this is going to be a boring opening to the stream. Okay. Ta-tum, 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 ta-tum. There are speedrunners who can do this, like, ridiculously quickly, but I think that's true of a lot of games, speedrunners and things doing ridiculously quickly. So perhaps it wasn't worth commenting on. I think that's correct. Let's find out. Yes, it was. All right. So now we are faced with the final choice. Do we free Cirrus, Akinar, or potentially get ourselves caught in the Green Book, which in this remake seems to be the Bell-Bottoms book. I can't be the only one who sees that, right?
Who the devil are you? Don't come here to Donnie, not yet. Oh, I have many questions for you, my friend, as you no doubt have for me. Where should I begin? Perhaps my story is... My name is Atris. I fear you met my sons, Cirrus and Akinar, in the red and blue books on Myst Island in my library. My library. Oh, it contains my works, my writings. I wrote many books that linked me to fantastic places. It's an art I learned from my father many years ago. Oh, but the red and blue books, those were different. I wrote those books to entrap over-greedy explorers that might stumble upon my island of Myst. But I had no idea my own sons would be entrapped. My sons, Cirrus and Akinar. We had many journeys together. I gave them free rein to the books. Perhaps it was not wise.
Perhaps.
I could see the greed growing in them. I had not told them about the red and blue books. Their imaginations went wild. They dreamed of riches and power. Of course, they did not know the books were traps. They begged for access to those books, and of course I denied them. Oh. They devised a plan. An evil plan. I had no idea to what extent their greed had progressed. Their own mother. They used their own mother. Oh, my dear Catherine. To lure me here to Dunny. Of course, I could return to Myst, except they removed a single page from my Myst linking book. I cannot return without that page. You, my friend, can bring that page to me. Oh, believe my story above the lies that my sons have told you. If you could find it in yourself to return that page to me here in Dunny, I could go to Myst and bring justice to my sons for what they've done. I must return to my writing. I pray that you believe me. Please hurry. Bring the page. Bring the page with you.
I only sat through that because, honestly, the number of streamers that I know that have not that I know, that I've seen that have watched that whole thing, I could count on one hand. All of them are just like, ooh, a thing, click it. Whereas in 1993, you would never have done that because you would be just astonished by the fact that your computer was playing video. Hello, Copal123. Welcome, welcome. Jen asks, what is the point of Rime in this game now? Does it change the plot or just expand the puzzling? That is a question to which I don't know the answer, that we will discover it together. It looks like, I mean, from the glimpses that I've seen, it looks like there's more to it than there was in Real Myst. But I don't know by how much. I don't know how much of it is puzzle, and I don't know how much of it is lore, but we'll see. Did you do it, Brungo? I don't remember, actually. I may have caught you in time and told you not to click without watching it, but I mean, yeah, like I said, so many streamers are just so eager that they click, sometimes without actually having the white page.
My friend, you've returned. And the page. Did you bring the page? You've done the right thing. I have a difficult choice to make.
I have a difficult choice to make, and I'm going to make it in about 7 seconds.
My sons have betrayed me. I know what I must do. I shall return shortly.
The other problem, of course, is that in the original Myst and in Myst Masterpiece Edition, it is possible to walk away from Atris and miss the entire Myst, and miss like the entire dialogue that comes after it, which is a real tragedy.
It is done. I have many questions for you, my friend, but my writing cannot wait. I fear that my long delay may have already had a catastrophic impact on the world in which my wife, Catherine, is now being held hostage. Oh, and a reward. I'm sorry, but all I have to offer you is the library on the island of Myst and the books that are contained there. Feel free to explore at your leisure. I hope you find your exploration satisfying. You'll no longer have my sons to deal with. Oh, and one more thing. I'm fighting a foe much greater than my sons could ever imagine. At some point in the future, I may find it necessary to request your assistance. Until that point, I'm afraid you'll enjoy the explorations from my library on Myst.
Until that moment, I'm afraid you will enjoy the
book. You can use
the explorations from my library on Myst. Yes, that's what I'm afraid too. Anyway, let's start the actual content of this playthrough. There we go. I read that first gen as a pop is going to go kick some ass. Because, he's their pop, and he is a pop, therefore, and is going to go kick some ass. Rather than a pop. Okay, here we go. My friend, now that you have seen the destruction wrought by Cirrus and Achenar, you no doubt have a very specific idea of who they were. Greedy, envious, hateful men. But there is one more page to turn. One last age where I hope you might see them as I did. As my sons. Atris. Around here we say a soda is going to kick some ass. Very good. Okay. So I've read this journal before, but I think some things in it might have changed. So we're going to go through this with a bit of reading time. Rime, I have named it. A desolate age with a beauty that is quite different than I had expected or imagined. The intricate feathers of ice that fall from the sky are awe-inspiring. I feel as though I could sit and watch them for hours. And though it is cold here, like I have never experienced before, I find myself enjoying the change of temperature, for it is unlike any other place that I have ever seen. Perhaps the oddest thing is the silence. Although the wind blows on occasion, when it ceases there is a suffocating silence that falls on this place, broken only by the distant cries of unseen creatures. I have visited 3 times and am sure now that this age will provide the environment I need. I believe the cold temperature is crucial for obtaining the necessary refraction of light. Examining the structure of the books is ever more perplexing, but I am driven onward by my need to understand. The great tree of possibilities can never be fully grasped, but I must at least try to find one particular branch. Of course, the chance of using a blank linking book to find one specific age amongst the infinite variations that must exist is infinitesimal, like searching for a specific grain of sand on the beach. The only workable solution is to focus the connection of a damaged, unusable linking book. Perhaps I can bridge this much smaller gap. On the subject of enlightenment, I would also like to find the cause of the mysterious lights that shine in the darkness here. I don't believe he said that before about the talk of a damaged, unusable linking book, but I don't remember exactly. Though I never assumed that I would be able to build especially fast here, the speed at which I am progressing is somewhat disappointing. I do think I will bring Cirrus and Achenar here, as well as some of the machinery from Selenitic. Achenar chose to stay with Catherine, and while Cirrus was unhappy about the prospect of exploring a new age without his brother, he was still excited to come. He has spent the last few days here with me, helping me with the beginning phases of construction. He, too, seems to enjoy the ice and cold weather. He is intrigued with the crystals that we have brought with us. He has been a big help, as have others, and I hope to be able to begin my experiments here soon. Tonight, Cirrus and I found a wondrous spot to view the lights, although it seems they decided to hide from us. After sitting in the cold winds for over 2 hours, we saw nothing. It was rather disappointing. Cirrus will return to Myst tomorrow. He has been a tremendous aid to me, and I'm thankful for his willingness to help. He is excited to tell Achenar about his adventures, and it's clear to me how much he has missed his brother's company. The hard part of the construction is over, although I have decided after tonight that I would like to add some kind of observation post. I won't be finished as soon as I had hoped, although I am fairly certain it will be worth the delay in the long run. I have decided to take a break from the construction now that the tunnel is almost complete. I am quite convinced that with the right refraction, certain properties of the ink can be simulated. When I try to explain my theory to Catherine, she laughs and tells me I am, quote, trying to hold infinity in a bottle. She laughs, and I laugh. Maybe she is right, but I must try regardless. I came too close to success on Everdunes. Besides, if all that comes from this effort is time spent with my sons, it will have been worthwhile. I'm fairly certain now that temperature does indeed have an effect on the refractive properties of the crystals, but I have realized that temperature alone is not enough. Each crystal responds differently to the lower temperatures, and controlling the particulars is proving challenging. Perhaps focusing on another, more attainable goal in the short term will help. I should finish the shaft to my observation post while I have the machinery here, perhaps tomorrow morning. The lights were beautiful again last night. They had not shown themselves for so long that I had almost forgotten their beauty. I still must find the cause. I am feeling rather overwhelmed with what remains to be done. I have made no progress on the crystals. The shaft is not finished, nor is the observation post or even the lab. I have not seen Catherine for some time, and I long to spend more time with Achenar and Cirrus. Besides all of that, there are far away in the back of my mind the thoughts of my people and our lost city. I dreamt of them again last night. I have seen the city in its worst condition, and still its beauty overwhelmed me. Even now, as I visualize how majestic it must have been before the destruction caused by Viovis and Agarus, it amazes and saddens me. I am certain that Denis is not dead as my father believed. I am convinced that there must be some who managed to escape the destruction and even now continue to survive in separate ages. Within me is an urging to take the chance and return to Dunny to find these survivors and properly rebuild our city. However, excuse me. However, I can do nothing until I am certain of the fate of my father. If my plan failed, or I missed a single book when attempting to trap him on Riven, then he has been free all along. If that is true, then all that stands between him and the ages I have now written is the link from Dunny to Myst. As much as I wish to return to Dunny, without knowing the fate of my father, I cannot risk re-establishing that link. I must observe my father without re-establishing that link. It has been several years, and there have been many dead ends, but the solution is out there somewhere. I know it. At least I hope. Catherine will have her ideas about all of these things, and I miss her greatly. I will return to Rime later when my mind has cleared. And our code is 2735. Let's see, anything else in this book? No. Okay. So we head down to the forechamber. Change this to 40, I think. Yeah, topographical extrusion test. And then push this button that has mysteriously appeared and watch nothing happen. Maybe we need to push the other button first. Topographical extrusion test. There we go. I watched somebody play this and just spend an agonizingly long time not turning this thing around. I'm gonna turn the volume here down a little bit. There we go. So this is all new content now. Kind of. This is how you got into Rime from in Real Myst, basically. Except you didn't have the freedom to turn this thing. You just pushed it and it turned either one way or the other. But like I said, I watched some guy turn it this way and that way, but never this way, which was agonizing. But anyway, once we have done that, we head up to where the spaceship is. Actually, that's something that this remake did change. That last circle showed the spaceship in Real Myst, so that you really couldn't miss that it was talking about these 4 pillars. But in this one, you kind of had to intuit. So let's see. Interesting. There is not an immediate path forward, like there was in Real Myst. Is there anything I can actuate here? It's hard to tell what's on this other side. Nope. Maybe we do have to turn it one of those other ways, and I'm an idiot. That way we'd be able to squeeze into it. Possibly. Let's find out. maybe I have to give that person I was complaining about a pass. There's nothing to actuate in there. There's nothing on top of it to actuate that I can see. Back to the four-chamber again. Try the signal scope. Oh man, Myst would be great with a signal scope. Okay, so we can't do anything with this other than rotate it. So what if we rotate it that way? Use the signal scope to move the slider. Boy, if that's not mixing a metaphor, I don't know what is. Ah, okay, here we go. Now we're cooking with gas. Alright, we want this to say 2735. 2735. Okay. Oh, there's a big red button. There we go. There we go. There's a rhyme. Let's actually watch the flyby that they took so much time to animate, and yet only plays in this tiny little difficult to see screen. Alright, that's enough. There's a lot of rhyme to load. Okay. This is kind of trippy. Imagining how much of Myst/Riven would be trivialized if you had a jetpack. That's true. That's even more useful than a signal scope. Where am I? Oh, there we go. It's awfully dark. There's the warming hut. Right, I remember this from the previous game. There is a stove in here that you have to turn on in order to warm it up enough that you can open this door. Because heat expands things. And presumably it expands the door frame and not the door. Not sure why that would be, but... Okay, so we turn on the gas. Okay, and it does nothing. I did turn the gas on, didn't I? Or did I turn it off? That looks like off to me, but you never know. Maybe there's more than one valve. Okay, let's turn that on. Follow this. Can we get down there? Yes, we can. Aha. This is new. That doesn't sound like success. Okay. Okay. Interesting. Usually flames shooting out of the top of something is not a sign of success. But Atris doesn't play by the rules. There we go. I don't know why I had to start a generator of some kind in order to get the gas to come through, but this place is a little creepy. That is true. It also has a second floor, which is not the case in Real Myst. I think the place is warm now, so this door will open. But I want to go up first. That's a very Atris design. Not sure what the point of it is. But at least he didn't build an elevator. That would probably be his go-to course of action. A bed. A book. Akinar's journal. Ooh, that's new. Another gift journal from Father. He doesn't quite get that I barely use these. Then again, here I am writing in it, so I guess I shouldn't complain. It's always a kind gesture. My brother was right. The lights in the sky are unbelievable to see firsthand. The way they dance and shimmer beyond the clouds fills me with a kind of peace that's hard to put into words. Cirrus paces when he's either trying to work out a difficult problem or when he's upset. Tonight it's upset pacing, head down, staring at the floor, big wide stride. Usually I just let him stew until he sorts it out, but he's been going on for hours like this. Guess I'll just have to be the big brother and talk him through it. Turns out he was upset because he thinks Father's ideas for the crystals are wrong and he's too nervous to admit it to him. I always knew Father's opinions mattered a lot to Cirrus, but he needs to get past this idea that Father can never be wrong. Working outside for too long causes a dull ache behind my eyes. Even the normal light here is off somehow. I'm not sure how they deal with it. Maybe my brother's thick skull blocks it out. Cirrus, if you're reading this, that was a joke. Don't go crying to Father. Father asked me to help him design and build a device for cutting the crystals into thin sheets. From the big grin on Cirrus's face, it's clear that this was the big idea he was afraid to share. Looks like I was right, again. This little brat thinks he's being so sneaky. I'm watching you over there, scribbling down your little plans. Look at you. You think no one knows what you're planning, but I do. Guess I'll have to go keep an eye on him. Stupid child. Stupid, pea-brained idiot. I was right. He snuck out to watch for the stupid whales. Slipped and cracked his head on some ice. Could have gone right over the edge if I hadn't been there. Writing just so I have something to put my mind to. His injury seemed severe at first, but after cleaning it, I can see that it isn't serious. A big scrape on his side and a really good knock on the head were the worst of it. He begged me to not tell Father, as if there was any chance I would. As clever as he is, Cirrus is still just a child. Told Father Cirrus felt ill and needed a day to sleep it off. He nodded and immediately asked me to help him with his work. I know he cares for us both, but would it kill him to at least be a little concerned? Though I have to admit, it was nice to spend the day working together, just us. It's been a long time since we've done that. Brungo says, I had to check the book because I heard pea-brained. That's what I said. I mean, it's pronounced the same whether it's P-E-E or P-E-A, right? Father is absorbed in the final touches of his book device, so I doubt he'll notice if I repurpose some of the leftover parts from Stone Ship. I have a little project of my own in mind. Shouldn't take more than a few hours if I just bolt the entire thing to the railing. Father's device works. Being able to see Channelwood without physically being there is truly unbelievable. For all their kind words about how much I contributed, I know this is more of their achievement than mine. They deserve to be proud. Okay, we have a thing here. Now, what's the screen capture? Button. They won't tell me. Under help, maybe. Version 304. That's very helpful. Thank you. Oh, controller diagram. There we go. So if I was using the Steam Deck, which I am, but not using the mouse, which I am not. That is to say, not using the mouse. I could take a screenshot by pressing Y. Okay, that doesn't really help. Guess I'm just going to have to copy this down the old-fashioned way. Okay, so green, blue, red, white, 3 concentric circles, one thick concentric circle, three concentric circles again, and small circle inside donut. T002862. This takes me back, taking notes like we did playing original Myst 1993. So on the other side here, we will no doubt find Property of Cirrus. It's very exciting to get to see one of Father's ages so soon after he completes it. Usually he makes us wait so long before allowing us to visit. He told me Rime would be cold, but I was still completely surprised by just how much breathing in the air hurt. Father gave me this journal for my Rime observations. He said that Akinar would also get one when he visits, and not to spoil the surprise. I hope I can convince my brother to come next time. Now that I'm more used to the cold, I can see how beautiful this place is. Father's skill with the art is amazing. Father explained his theories about the Everdunes crystals today. He wants to try to build a machine to view ages without linking to them. He hopes that the crystals will refract light through the linking panels and show what's on the other side. It sounds impossible, but I know he can figure it out. I've begun my experiments on the crystals. Father asked me to find a way to control how much each crystal refracts light. He even gave me my own workspace, just like his. I'll start by leaving each crystal out in the cold for different lengths of time to see if the different temperature changes anything. I can solve this, I know it. Father has asked me to return home to Myst. I hope it's not because I'm distracting him. I know I have a lot of questions, but he asked me to do these experiments. I just want to keep trying to figure it out. Akinar decided to join me this time. Watching his shock at the cold was very amusing. Father has built more dwelling space, and now we have a wonderful spot to view the lights. He asked us to help him finish the construction, but soon I will return to my crystal experiments. I've come up with some new ideas while away that I'm excited to test. I'm not having much success with the crystals. The amount of refraction is always changing. I can't seem to get a constant reading. It's very frustrating. But I realized something. I think Father's approach might be wrong. There's just no way to get reliable refraction from these crystals like this. I think I have an idea to solve it, but I don't know how to bring it up. I don't want to sound foolish to Father. Maybe he knows best, and I just don't see things like he does. Akinar encouraged me to tell Father about my ideas, so at last I did. He called it brilliant. He started working with Akinar to build a machine to cut the crystals straight away. It's nice to see my ideas accepted so quickly without being told they're unworkable or unsound. We're back from Myst again. It was a nice break from all the snow and ice. Father asked us to return to Rime without him, which he only does when he needs to talk to Mother about something serious. Why can't they just say what they want in front of me? I'm not a child anymore. When I'm grown and have sons of my own, I won't ever hide serious things from them. We finally saw the whales tonight. We hear their song once in a while, but they've never come close enough for us to see until now. From the big cliff behind the observation tower, we saw a massive whale appear in the cave, followed by two smaller ones. Father said there were 3 of them, just like us. Then he laughed and called us his little whale calves, which got a groan from me and a handful of snow from Akinar. I wanted to stay out and keep watching, but Father lectured me about how it was too dangerous to be there alone. I protested, but he just gave me that sad look. That means let it go. Fine, I'll just wait until later tonight, then go back. I'm so sorry. Father and Mother, if I die, I'm so sorry. My brother bandaged me up and said that my thick skull protected me, but I know it could have been a lot worse if he hadn't found me. Akinar, thank you, and I'm sorry. I've been back working with Father for a few days now, but I've been too tired to write. I keep needing to take breaks to sit and rest because my side still aches quite a lot. Akinar keeps giving me looks, but I'll be okay. I want to see this to the end. We're very close to completing the crystal imager, but I'm really nervous. What if it doesn't work? Will we have to start all over again? It sounds like we'll find out tomorrow. It works. We saw Myst Island. We were even able to see Stone Ship by adjusting the lenses. I can't believe it. My brother and I keep going back and forth between books, reading out the lens settings and viewing each age over and over again, as if it were a game. Father seems more relieved that the work is finally complete. I'm sure he misses Mother, too. I can't wait to return home and tell her what I did. What we did. And we have another imager combination here. Yeah, this is interesting. You know, seeing Cirrus and Akinar in a light that's other than, you know, bring me the blue pages, or, I mean, I guess we did get to a bit more of a sense of them in in Myst 4, but that was kind of just as villains. How they were before things went all wrong. Okay, so that's yellow. At least it looks like yellow. Pink. Is that blue or purple? And green. 3 concentric circles. Donut with a circle in the center. This age definitely has a coziness factor that the others didn't. Channelwood isn't exactly what you'd call cozy. Stoneship could be, I suppose, with some quality of life adjustments. Okay, big donut and another donut with a circle inside it. And 10741. Okay, anything else to see here? Boxes, teapot, some kind of map that we can't take a closer look at. Some sort of gyroscope thing? Yeah, I think the journals are all we get to look at here. Okay. Let's go into the secret door. Ooh. What are these? Besides kind of creepy. You knew there was going to be an elevator eventually. I like that the doors don't open perfectly smoothly. This elevator looks a lot like the one in Real Myst, so maybe this part will be similar. Aha! Numbers and colors. Okay, so we move this in increments of 20 from 200 to 1,000. And ditto that. That doesn't look like the codes that Cirrus and Akinar had, though. Well, let's pull the lever and see what happens. Ooh, Aurora Borealis type of thing. So what if we change that to... Oh, I can't move this right now. At this time of day? In this part of the country? Let's pull the lever and see what happens should be the official slogan of Myst. I agree. Okay, so we can't change the settings while the lever is pulled, but we can now. Let's say... So we get the same, the lightning looks the same, but the aurora is the color we selected. What if we select two different colors? Red and cyan. Again, lightning looks the same. And sure enough, we get an aurora that's half red, half cyan. Okay. Interesting, but doesn't seem to correspond to anything that we know of yet. However, we have this button that we haven't pushed yet. Ah. This is new. Previously, this led to a little, like, reading nook type of thing with a journal in it. This is actually quite a bit more believable. This must be the viewing deck that they were talking about. Is there anything else to explore out here? It's very thoughtful of him to have installed these little velvet rope type things here, but not, you know, at the cliff's edge. Whatever. Atris gonna Atris. Does nothing. Alright, something new here. Aha! A room of things. There's our Myst linking book, which we will not use. A bed. Can we touch any of these books? A dish sink. A fire that's already on, despite the fact that we had to crank up the generator to turn the one on in the main warming hut. But never mind. Aw, that's sweet. Okay, enough sweetness for now. Rime Volume 2. This is new. Before spending any more time with my experiments, I have decided that I must finish construction. I have brought both Cirrus and Achenar this time. The shaft is almost finished, as is the observation post. Both boys prefer inside where it is warm, protected from the cold. Neither of them shows any real desire to leave. I cannot remember the last time my son spent so much time with me in an age. Last time, Cirrus came to me with a hypothesis that may solve the crystal refraction issue entirely. His suggestion involved cutting the crystals into thin lenses before attempting to filter light through them, an idea that came to him while thinking about the properties of my eyeglasses. I can't help but smile at the idea of Cirrus watching me stare through the solution right on my nose. It's an unconventional approach, but his reasoning is sound. With Achenar's help, I believe we can repurpose some of the equipment already in the workroom to fashion these crystal lenses. Progress on the lenses is slow, as the crystals are prone to shatter if handled incorrectly. Despite the setbacks, my sons are wholly engrossed in the task, and seeing them work together gives me great hope for the future. I long for the day I can bring them to Dunny to see its beauty for themselves. I know they will prove themselves indispensable to any restoration efforts I might undertake. Eventually I will need to tell them about Riven, but there is much to do before it becomes a concern. The lenses have been completed. Tonight we will return to Myst Island and to Catherine. It has been too long without the warmth of either, and we all deserve a break. While there, I will need to collect some additional linking books. It brings me no joy, but the only way to test the device is to intentionally damage several of them and ensure the device can still create a focused image. We only spent a day with Catherine before returning. I was still working up the courage to ask her for it, but before I could begin speaking, she had placed the book in my hands. It was the waterlogged linking book to Riven I had thrown into the sea the moment we were back in Myst, free of my father. I knew destroying the book was only a symbolic gesture, as the descriptive book still remained in Kavir, but I was young and angry. I remember Catherine swimming out to retrieve it despite my objections. "You should keep it. You may want it later," she told me. At the time, the idea upset me. Why would I want a reminder of that place? But once again, she was right. We said our goodbyes, and I returned to Rime, humbled by her foresight and love, as well as the note she had secretly tucked under the book's cover. It has been several days with no progress. No matter how we alternate the lenses, only the faintest, blurriest image appears. Did I damage the books too severely? Is the number of lenses too few or too many? The number of variables feels insurmountable. The boys find their own methods of encouragement. They have not given up hope, and so I must follow their example. For now, I have decided to refocus my efforts on the lights in the night sky. Although I originally thought that the effect would to be an organic one, I now believe it to be electromagnetic in origin. I think the effect could be triggered somehow. It's something that we'll have to try. I doubt either of my sons was expecting the amount of work it would take. It has turned out to be a challenge, working above the cold waters down where the wind cuts through clothing and skin like a sharp knife. Still, even amidst the dark cold, they are driven to complete the task. It is a side of them I have not seen before. The towers are finished. The power they require is conducted directly through the saline sea, alleviating the need for wires and enabling us to locate the towers a comfortable distance away. We are close now. Tomorrow, after adjusting the voltage, we will know just how close. This morning, as we worked, I noticed Akinar rubbing his eyes and groaning under his breath. Until now, I had simply assumed it was fatigue, but he then asked if Cirrus or I ever got headaches from how strange the light is here compared to other ages. It took a few moments for the full weight of his observation to hit me. Akinar had inadvertently noticed that the frequency of the visible light in Rime is completely unique to this age. Something so important, yet so subtle that it had gone unseen thus far. Of course, the lenses could not focus the linking panels of the books. They were calibrated assuming a standard frequency range. We shall repurpose the towers to allow the manipulation of the lights in the sky and project it through the lenses, giving us much finer control. We will need to find the correct combined frequency and construct an additional tower to transfer the light to the imaging device, but I believe that work will go quickly. We are so close now, I can feel it. There's a 1400 there. Write that down. Another hard day, but we have erected the final tower. I am too tired to write tonight. Tomorrow we test Akinar's theory. Akinar and Cirrus have some kind of shared secret they are keeping from me. I admit to great curiosity about what it could be, but I believe it is better to let them have something that is theirs alone. Truth be told, I am glad to see them relying on each other more. It has taken longer than I could have imagined, but this morning we were able to get a nearly perfect view of an age through its damaged book. It is an incredible sensation, like standing in two worlds at once. It is so much more than I could have done alone. The boys are so proud and want to return to Myst Island immediately to tell their mother about it, which is just as well. It's time they learned about Riven. Well, okay. Oh, there's a wheel here I didn't see before. That'll be useful in case I want to wash the dishes. do anything with these guys? I can. I can move them a little bit. That's confusing. What do I make of that? Not much, if I'm honest. Is there something we're supposed to put under there? That would be very un-Myst-like. Ooh, hello. Oh, no, that's just the Rime book. Go away, go away. Not the lamp. Okay. Ah, okay. Oh, this is just flavor. Shirts. Whatever's in that drawer, I can't see it. I assume it's just like pants or something. Oh, hello. Atris, I understand why viewing Riven is so vital to you. In truth, I have not stopped thinking about my home since the moment we escaped. But no matter how much you insist you're simply ensuring Gen remains trapped there, I see my own sadness when I look into your eyes. Gen is a monster who deserves his imprisonment, but I also know he will always be your father. Atris, my love, do you wish only to affirm that the cage still holds, or is there something more significant to you that you're searching for? Yours, Catherine. Okay. Well, we can go up the elevator again and try 1400 to see if that does it. I guess we tried on both sides. No, we can't go to 1400. Maybe they sum to 1400? Well, what if we do 700 and 700? Then we get our blue, purpley blue Aurora Borealis. Interesting to note is we can leave this thing engaged. We can't change the numbers when it is, but we can leave it engaged. What happens if we go to the other side? Anything to see here? Doesn't look like it. Is there some... I'm wondering if something changed in the little workroom. Something to do with those lenses. Can't imagine why something would have changed. And indeed, nothing has. Why is it playing this music? This music sounds a little bit more mischievous than I think I would expect. There's something else here that needs to be clicked on? What are you? Why can we open that? What's the point of opening that? Can we put something in it? Or is that just flavor? Huh. It's very weird to me that you can open this. Myst is usually not one for inventory beyond, pages. But then again, in Riven, you could pick up the geode that contained the fire marble. So maybe they've changed their minds on that. Please hold. I'm going to turn up the brightness on my monitor. That's better. Now I just need to turn up the brightness on myself. This is so weird. Why? It's interesting to watch Myst gameplay after blueprintsing it for 2 weeks. I hope that it's marginally satisfying. At the moment, it doesn't feel terribly satisfying. I know there's more than this. There has to be. Of course. I'm a dunce. Why did I assume you couldn't go down any further? Ooh. Ah. So this is where the light filters in. It's just a very clear line of dissent. The fact that anyone was ever comparing Blueprints to Outer Wilds instead of Myst is wild. You think? I mean, I haven't been watching Blueprints, like, with absolute rapt attention, but it feels like... I don't know, it feels like it's a very separate type of game. Like, neither of them. Alright, well, this clearly corresponds to the, this clearly corresponds to the stuff in Cirrus and Akinar's journals. This is Riven. At least I think it is. It's a little hard to read that. Mechanical. Selenitic. I might say Kavir, but it's very hard to read in this light. Myst, Channelwood, and Stone Ship. Alright, well, let's try the one from... I believe this was Cirrus's journal. Oh, I see. We move them up and down. Okay. So that we move to 1. That was green. This guy is either blue or purple. I want to say purple. At 4. This guy was 7. This guy was 10. It's a little awkward. Okay, 10, 7, 4, 1. Yellow, pink, blue, purple, green. Now I'm gonna go with blue. I think that was the color we were looking at. Okay, so that's medium aperture. This is closed aperture, or as closed as it gets aperture. This is middle aperture. And it looks like we can't change the top one, which is okay because that's left fully open. to say blank. Must be blank. Can I zoom? Is there a zoom key? Yes, there is. Okay, there it is. Zoom. Yes, blank. Myst. Channelwood. Stone ship. Ultimately, the one we really want to work is Riven, right? Wait a sec, what's that handle for? Interesting. Whatever the case, that was not the right combination. It's funny, I recognize some of these sound effects from Real Myst. They're used in different places, but they're the same sound effects. Anyway, we kind of ran through here without looking at things. What do we got? Tools that we can't interact with. A burner that we can't interact with. A box that we can't interact with. A scroll saw that we can't interact with. Here we go. Crystal observations. Max distance between the height of the top and bottom lenses cannot exceed 11. It seems the light is unable to penetrate the ink of the book if the distance is too great. To allow for needed refraction, no two sequential lenses can have a matching iris size. Each lens's color frequency must be unique. To compensate for its extreme refraction, any lens set to use the highest frequency color must also use the smallest iris. If a lens sits between two small iris lenses, it must be equal in distance to both. Lens frequency must decrease, struck out, in order as they get closer to the book. Can increase or decrease, but they must do so in order. Even with the alteration of the base crystal shape into a flat lens, the laws of physics cannot be circumvented. That is a lot of details. I wonder to what extent I have to understand them. Can I move these, or is this just a show? Yeah, I can't interact with these. What's this say? We've found it. Even after all these years, I recognized it in an instant. Infinity in a bottle. And of course, it's slightly destroyed. Okay. Using a whole lot of post-its here. Okay, so we've got yellow. And we've got blue. And we've got middle aperture level. And we've got 12 and 4. Okay. Stupid leaky pipe. Okay, so if we apply these rules to the partial information that was left undestroyed, what do we get? Each lens's color frequency must be unique. So, the bottom two are neither yellow nor blue. To allow for needed okay, the top and bottom lenses cannot exceed 11 steps. Is that a freebie? Because there's only so far, because you can only get them, I think, 3 together? 3 apart, rather? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Height of the top and bottom lenses cannot exceed 11 steps. So we know the bottom lens is 4. So the max that the top can be is 15, which is 3 separate from 12. Alright, so we know that the top is 15. Sorry, I should have a notes cam or something for this, but I do not. I copied the partially ruined note that said we found it onto a post-it, and I'm filling in the blanks. The blank on the upper right now says 15. To compensate for its extreme refraction, any lens set to use the highest frequency color must also use the smallest iris. Lens frequency can increase or decrease as they get closer to the book. Okay. So the Aurora Borealis machine tells us what the frequencies are. Interesting. Compensate for its extreme refraction. If a lens sits between two small iris lenses, it must be equal in distance to both. Why would it tell us that if we didn't have to use it? That's kind of a lousy way to derive a clue, but all right, I'm going to work off a theory here. So, if we set it to 8, if we fill in 8 as the middle number, I'm going to fill this in and then immediately copy it over to the other. To the machine over there, just so we can, just so we have something to look at. Okay, so the top one is 15. The next one is 12. That's 8. That's 4. That's yellow. We have that already. Oh, and we can't change the top one, so we have to. So that has to be fully open. Okay, so that's set. This one, we figure, is small aperture. This one, medium. This one, small. Oh, and this is blue. Okay, so the numbers, I believe, are correct. The apertures are correct. The top 2 colors are correct. That leaves the bottom 2 colors. So the clue that we have for the bottom 2 colors... First off, each lens color frequency must be unique. Lens frequency must decrease or increase, but has to do so in order. Oops, wrong button. All right, let's take a quick trip up to the Aurora Borealis machine. Okay, so yellow is a low frequency, perhaps 320. Blue is a medium high frequency, about 700. So the bottom 2 have limited choices. Cyan and green. Okay. That leaves unanswered the question of what we set this thing to, except that we know it has to be set to 1400. We think it has to be set to 1400. We know nothing. Can't go up. Just checking. Oh, and what's on the other side of this when we go all the way to the bottom? Nothing. Okay. Okay, turn around. Okay, back to the machine. So this has to be cyan, and this has to be green. Alright, if I've done it right, this should do something. I have not done it right. That may yet be the right setting for the lens machine, but we still need to set the Aurora Borealis to the right color. Now, where did I get that 1400 number from? One of the journals, but I can't remember which. Any misters in chat? Hey, Zorark. A miss is as good as a mister, they always say. Okay, it was this book that had the number in it, right? 1400. We will need to find the correct combined frequency and construct an additional tower to transfer the light to the imaging device. Frequency of the visible light in Rime is completely unique to this age. I'm assuming these underlined passages are basically like, this is what you need to know to figure the puzzle out. Anything else underlined? No. We will need to find the correct combined frequency to construct an additional tower. Alright, so 1400 is the correct combined frequency, but what... How do we separate it? Do we just split it in half? Well, let's try. Worst it can do is not work. Okay. It worked. What do you know? Cool. what I wonder now is if we change the Aurora Borealis frequency, so it's still 1400, but it's the sum is achieved a different way. Do we get like a different scene from Riven? Let's find out. So let's see what happens if we turn this all the way up to 1,000 and this down to 400. It's kind of a sickly looking color, but okay. Nope, just the same scene. That's a little disappointing. I would have thought it was. I would have found it interesting if, like, each combination that added up to 1400 would show you a different scene from Riven. Be a good way to promote the game as well. Maybe. Okay, so that's Riven. Let's try the combinations in Cirrus and Akinar's books. So the one in, I believe, Akinar's book was 26912. Fully open, fully closed, fully open, and in the middle. Green, blue, red, white. There is no red. Maybe it was purple? I believe that's correct. Okay, well, it's not Riven. Mechanical? No. Selenitic. Still no. Stone ship. No. Okay, maybe I got the combination wrong. Let's go back and check. A little inconvenient that we have to go up twice, around once, and then down once, when we should just be able to go up once and around once, but never mind. Brungo is misting. Zorark is dog. Congratulations on the pyramid. Okay, so now we know what the colors are. That's yellow, pink. We know that's blue, not purple. Fully open, mid-open, fully closed, mid-closed. Okay, let's look at the other one. I feel like I have to point out that the competition here is not perhaps as great as it is in other streams, but well done nonetheless. Okay, green, blue. Is that yellow? I guess that's yellow. Okay, let's try that. You get yelled at for insisting that the merit of a pyramid lies in the competition. The pyramid is a religious symbol. I thought it was like the Illuminati or something like that. Or maybe that's only if it's got an eye in it. So let's change this so that is green, blue, yellow, white. Green, blue, yellow, white, 12962. And middle, open, closed, open. Okay, Riven? No. Mechanical? No. Selenitic? No. Blank? Well, it does look pretty blank. Myst. Nope. Channelwood. No. Stone ship. No. Did we already try Riven? No. Huh. Fully open, fully closed, fully open, middle, 12962. Huh. Alright, let's try the other one just for funsies. Well, wait a minute. Can we derive the... I mean, does this require a different total frequency? A different Aurora Borealis frequency? It said it was 1400. The four numbers in... They add up to 39. That doesn't tell us anything. Huh. Well, let's try the other one just for completeness sake. Maybe we'll get lucky. 10741. Come on. Ten seven four one. Open middle, closed middle. And yellow, pink, blue, green. Riven? Nope. Mechanical? No. No. Stay hydrated, Strimmer. I don't know. Do you have 10,000? Do you have 100,000 channel points? Hey, Bishop. How's it going? Welcome in. Myst? Nope. And Channelwood, finally. Or no. No. And Stone Ship, finally. It is going well, though it's mid-May and you saw a bug. I feel you there. Nature is waking up. I'm just grateful I don't have allergies, or else I'd be even more pissed off. I'm going to look in Cirrus and Aquanar's journals again and see if they have any other 4-digit numbers that I didn't notice the first time around. Is that an ashtray? Looks like a compass? I don't know. Huh. Nope, nothing else to look at here. Probably not in Sirius's journal either, but let's take a look anyway. Something on the cover? Start 523. No, I don't think that's anything. Let's look at Adris's journals again. I keep looking at this and wondering, like, is the combined... It must be the combined frequency is all that matters, because that's what happened with Riven. But why wouldn't it work with Sirius and Akinar's combinations? Here that we missed. Nope, just 1400. What about these guys? We never did figure out what moving them was for. Or is this another combination that we're meant to look at? Vanny Vidi said hello and then went to bed. Good night. Good night, Bishop. Thanks for stopping in. Alright. So looking at this, it's... We don't have red, do we? I'm remembering that wrong, am I? That must be magenta then. So white, red, blue, green. Or white, pink, white, magenta, blue, green. And big, middle, big, small. The tricky part is going to be figuring out what the numbers are. Maybe each of these notches is one of them? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Nine, 10, 11, 12. 13, 14, 15, 16. 17, 18, 19. All right, well, let's give it a try. Okay. 19, big, white. Sixteen, medium, magenta. Yeah, there is no red, like I thought. Blue, big, 12. Okay. And green, small, 8. Is that right? 19, 16, 12, 8. Big, medium, big, small. White, magenta, blue, green. White, magenta, blue, green. Yeah. Okay. Nothing. 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 Ooh. Aha. So one of the other combinations does work. Okay. Well, that's nice. Just checking it doesn't work on any of the others. Okay. So we've got images for Riven and Myst, but makes it all the more mysterious why it is that Cirrus and Akinar's combinations aren't working. I don't know. What do you think, everyone? Should we continue noodling on this, or do you want to take a quick tour through the rest of Myst as I comment on what I think of various aspects of the remake and things like that? I will defer to chat's will on the subject. You're down to see my thoughts on the remake. Okay, cool. Let's head back to Myst then, and actually we should probably start over from the beginning, because, yeah. Okay, well, I'll save just in case. Okay, new game, classic, and off we go. Guess we gotta watch the opening cinematic again.
I realized the moment I fell into the fissure that the book would not be destroyed as I had planned. It continued falling into that starry expanse of which I had only a fleeting glimpse. I've tried to speculate where it might have landed, but I must admit that such conjecture is futile.
Son of a bitch.
Still, questions about whose hands might one day hold my Myst book are unsettling to me. I know my apprehensions might never be allayed, and so I close, realizing that perhaps the ending has not yet been written.
You're hearing double, 4 Mysts. 2 per ear. Okay. So, let's start with mechanical. I already know the solutions to these off by heart, so we don't need to go through the tower rotation to do them. So much the better, it'll take less time. 240. Now, one thing about this remake that, I mean, this is a problem with the original as well, but you're trying to make this thing say 221 from top to bottom. And the thing that you have to figure out is that you can not only pull and release the levers, but you can also pull and hold them. The thing of it, and otherwise it's impossible to get 221. The thing is, though, I am sure that I have watched people do this, pull the lever, and have that not happen, and have it just stick back and not move any further. I'm not sure I can get it. I probably won't be able to get that to duplicate here. Anyway, let's just put in 221 and be serious about it. There we go. Let's see, is there anything that I want to say about mechanical itself before we go there? No, I think I'm actually okay with mechanical overall from in this remake. You remember the game being relatively short overall. Yeah, it is, definitely. Let's go to Stone Ship. Stone Ship I know is I've got stuff to say about. Let's see. Goose, no. Cross, no. Leaf, yes. Arrow, no. Anchor, no. Tick, yes. And snake, yes. Stone Ship, I think, is where they made the most changes in the name of making it VR friendly. And therefore, I think it gives me the most to find fault with. Let me go through what I'm talking about here. I feel like I should say that I enjoyed the Rime part of this game, and the rest of the remake is really good looking. I mean, they really did a nice job with it. It's only some of the weird changes that they made to the puzzles in order to make it accessible to VR that I think are questionable. Like this, for example. In the original Myst, this was 3 buttons that looked like this, in fact, that were lighted on top. You could choose 1, 2, or 3, or none of them, and that was it. What they've done here is made this weird sort of gear shift, which I don't care for at all, because the 3 significant positions are here, here, and here. But you can also move the lever there. Now, that's funny. I thought you could actually move the lever here. Maybe they fixed that. But they made it but they make it complicated by adding this and the switch. And I'm not a super big fan of that. But anyway, so that's a little better than I remember, so I'll give them credit for fixing that. No, my shuttle controls. Yeah. No, you're not kidding. Let's see. Let's pump out the lighthouse. I think that's the middle position. Or is that the brothers' rooms? No, that's the brothers' rooms. It's the right position. That's my fault. That is not the remake's fault. Ah! Misclick. Okay. Okay. Now the lighthouse, this thing I don't like. See, in the original Myst, there was a keychain to the floor right about here. And you're supposed to look at that and the padlock that's up here on the trapdoor, which they also got rid of, and think, well, why would anybody chain a key to the floor? That's really annoying. But what they've done here instead is they've attached it with a string to the roof. And it's not clear, and there's a keyhole here, and it's not clear that this doesn't reach. Like, you pick it up, and you feel like you're just, running into a quirk of the controls, that doesn't reach, that this key doesn't reach this keyhole. And that can get you stuck and make you think that the game is just, being stupid. When in fact what you're supposed to do is go down these stairs, find the chest that's here, open the valve to let the water out, and then close it again so that it's watertight. But they've replaced the chest with this very weird contraption, this barrel, with a tiny little chest attached to the top that's on this sort of cable thing so that it goes up into that holder. It's really weird. I don't see why they did that, except that it is, I don't know. There must have been a better way to make the chest compatible with VR controls. Anyway, let's pump the water back in order to completely solve the puzzle. So yeah, so this floats to the top, and now this key can be used with this chest, which contains another key, which is also on a string, but apparently it's a longer string. And that causes this ladder to come out of the wall. It's... I mean, I guess I get why they tried to do it this way, but it's so weird and awkward, isn't it? I mean, it can't just be me. Anyway, so we climb the ladder, and we get to the generator, which is, at chest height, and we find that the lights go out when we turn it. And that's because the shaders are recalculating or something like that, and they couldn't just have it happen without blanking out beforehand. And that, I think, really interrupts the flow, because you think, well, why did I just black out here? It's not clear at all that that's part of that's a technical restriction of the game. It makes you think that something happened, like this light went out, or, it momentarily went to midnight. Not only that, but look how fast it drains the power from here. It's like a minute, if that, worth of power. Where in the original Myst, it was like, I don't know, 10. The point is, you have to keep coming back here and cranking this up, and you keep seeing that blackout light effect, which makes it all the more conspicuous and seemingly awkward, and I just don't care for it at all. But if you're quick, you can run down the passages to the brothers' rooms. No 5-second loads between screens like in the original Myst, so you have less time to move, I guess. Yeah, I mean, it still seems kind of meh, though. And then there's this. There's the compass table. You're supposed to click southeast on this, which again causes the lights to momentarily go out. But there's no way to look at this from above. You have to approach it like this and find the right button, which is semi-awkward, especially so since somebody will inevitably come in here and just click and click, not even realizing perhaps that these are buttons and not, I don't know, bollards or something. I like that word, bollards. And that'll cause the lights to go out, which causes the screen to go black again. And it makes the puzzle that much more awkward. I'm also not sure what I think about this door being here, and being a full-size door that is pre-opened for your convenience. You can find this almost before you find the brothers' rooms if you happen to look to the left or the right when you're coming down the stairs. And I'm not sure if that's how it should be, because narratively, you kind of want to find the brothers' rooms first. And then eventually stumble upon this. Although I will concede that the original Myst took this a step too far by making that like an almost invisible trapdoor that everybody always misses because it's concealed in the shadows. Anyway, let's go get Akinar's page as well. Akinar's room is unsettling, as it's meant to be. But this I don't get. He's got all of these sort of drafting tools, I guess you'd call them here. Which seems kind of out of character for Akinar. I mean, I recognize that, for whatever reason, the drawers in his chest of drawers, in the original game and in this one, are all maps and things. But drafting blueprints mentioned. Yeah, well, you'll get to it soon enough. But it just seems very out of character for Akinar. I mean, you'd expect these to be like instruments of torture or something like that. It's also quite easy to miss his blue page. See, I'm missing it right now. There it is. Whereas Cirrus's is just out in the open. In the original, it was on the somewhat questionable looking bed. I mean, the bed is questionable in both versions, obviously, but in the original Myst, it looked like Akinar might have had something of a bedwetting problem. I will say one of the things that they got right here, that they made better, was the fact that the Myst book is in a cabinet in this table that opens when you at the push of a button, rather than morphing up out of the table like it does in the original Myst. That never made any sense. Neither, of course, did and you can actually see the power cable extends through the window here. So that's a nice touch. I like that. In the original Myst, like I said, it morphed up out of the table, and in fact, if you clicked on the table before you turned the lights on, it would beep at you, which made even less sense. Oh, and they apparently added this in a recent revision, that this is all burnt out rather than being relatively pristine as it was in the first release of this remake. So that's a good touch. I credit them for coming up with that idea. And then there's these guys.
Thank you for bringing the red page. You must continue to help.
I mean,
My name is Cirrus.
Cirrus just looks like a bad guy.
Release me. I beg you to find me. You must release me, for I
Oh, X is the screenshot button. Good to know. And Akinar just looks weird. and they're too stable in frame. Like in the original Myst, they were just sort of moving around, which sort of went well with the fact that they were blinking in and out of existence. But here they're just like they're right in the center of the frame, and whining and whining to you about the red and blue pages and things. I don't know. This may just be me complaining about silly little things. But yeah. Anyway, let's go to Channelwood. If I remember correctly, this combination is 7, 2. Come on. Come on. Kind of awkward to operate with the mouse, but okay. This is an interesting decision. In the original Myst, you'd open the safe and you'd get a book of matches, and you had to figure out that you had to take a match out and strike it on the box, and then light the pilot. In this, they've just sort of hidden an automatic igniter inside of a safe. Now, to be fair, hiding a book of matches in a safe doesn't make a ton of sense, but this makes even less sense. Anyway. Make the tree elevator go all the way up. Come on, come on. There we go. And turn it all the way off. No, don't close in my face. Oh, come on, come on, come on, come on. Shit. Well, that's annoying. Let's do that again. Maybe this time the door won't close in my face. Let's make sure the door is freshly opened before shutting the valve off. There we go. One of the things that also doesn't make sense about this, but this is again the fault of Myst, not the remake, is that this button, which you can barely see in the dark, will take you down if you get into the elevator while it's going up, but it won't take you below ground level, which makes no sense whatsoever. But there it is. I do kind of like this little underground scene they put together that sort of evokes Channelwood. It's kind of a neat idea. The purpose of it is not clear. I mean, why there would be a swamp underneath Myst is possibly geologically inaccurate, but we'll let them have that. And Channelwood. They changed all of these valves so you don't have to look down to change them. They have these big handles that stick up. Kind of weird, but okay. It kind of makes me want to play this game in VR just to see if the changes they made were like worth it. Because you certainly don't get a sense of what VR is like when you watch somebody else play when you watch someone else play this, because that just makes you motion sick. I have definitely seen people get stuck at these elevators by not realizing that you have to shut the door for them to go up. Safety first. One thing they added for Channelwood, which I will demonstrate when I find it, that I like, is there's actually a connection between this lever and the door. Like, you can see that this pulls a cable of some kind that unlocks that door. That's a nice touch. In the original Myst, Channelwood was kind of a nightmare because it wasn't clear at all when you were making a 90-degree turn, when you were making a whatever 2/3 of 360 is degree turn, 120-degree turn, or 180-degree turn, or anything like that. And you would inevitably get completely lost among all of these identical-looking houses. And you had to find that little switch, which was very easy to miss. And there was nothing, like, if you got to this and you were wondering how to get this door open, there was not a clear answer as to how you did that. Whereas here, this door is closed, you look, oh, there's a pulley that goes here and goes there and goes all the way to that hut where I can see a thing. I should figure out a way to get to that hut. So that's good. Good on them for doing that. Giving power to the third level elevator. Going up the windy staircase again. Would have been a nice quality of life improvement to just, take you up automatically, but no, you have to get... You spin me right round, baby, like a record. Going to Akinar's temple here. Yeah. We heard you the first time. Now, if you go here and you listen to Cirrus on the fourth button.
I hope I pushed the right button, my dear brother. What a very interesting device you have not erasing anything important, am I?
That little toss of his head just kills
He
me.
is prepared.
I'm not erasing anything important,
Only
am
one
I?
page.
Ha! 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 Yeah, anyway. I just wanted to show that off. Blue page. Cirrus with the fancy columns and the fancy woods and the fancy. Kind of like the little bone knife that he uses to cut his disgusting cheese here. Oh, one thing that I definitely should mention is that this remake does right is it is the first Myst remake that allows you to carry 2 pages at once, and that is huge. Especially if you, like so many people that I have watched stream this game, brute force the Maze Runner. And so you don't have to do it over again a second time. It causes me pain every time I watch somebody do that. And it happens so often. Not only this, but the solution to the puzzle that gets you to the Selenitic Age, where the Maze Runner is one that is relatively easy to brute force. You just have to figure out that it's 59 volts. And you can do that through trial and error by resetting the breaker and noticing that 59 volts is where the breaker gets blown. And I've seen people do that. And, you know, that puzzle immediately followed by the Maze Runner. Well, not immediately followed by the Maze Runner, but closely followed by the Maze Runner. Gives people the impression that that's what Myst is these kinds of tedious puzzles that you have to brute force your way through. And that's frustrating, because that's not the case. It doesn't deserve that. Oops, wrong way. Myst may not be the strongest puzzle game of all time, but it's not bad. And it's certainly not as bad as people who brute force it end up thinking it is. I've also seen a lot of people go through Channelwood and find the Myst book before they find even a way up to the 2nd level, let alone the 3rd. Fortunately, most people seem to catch on that they're missing something. And they don't wind up missing the pages. Though they also do tend to backtrack a lot through the network of huts on the 2nd level to see if they're missing a page. Noted. Or Mac-righted, if you prefer. Okay, I think that's all of them. Wish I could run a little faster, but then again, looking at the state of some of these pathways, you might not want to run very fast to them. Hello, Frog. I I should try and get a screenshot of that so Bronco can use that on the opening screen. But we need to get around front without disturbing him. Which we can't do. Oh well, I tried. Now, the place where the Myst book is kept already looked like kind of an outhouse. And now that it's got a place for you to sit, even more so. A place to sit, something to read. Okay. Give you your page. Don't bother listening to your message because we already know. That leaves mechanical and selenitic. Let's do selenitic. So let's see. 1, 2, 22. 31. 50. So those three get us to 50. That's 60. 7. Was it 57 volts or 59? I've already forgotten. $59, okay. Actually, let me try one thing here. One of the things I liked about the original Myst, which I didn't actually know until I ran into it by accident, is that if you have a lower voltage than the rocket ship expects, and you try to open the door, it'll make a mechanical whining sound, like it's trying to open, but it won't open, which gives you the sort of gives you the hint that maybe I need to give it more power. And here we don't get that, so I'm kind of annoyed that they removed that. You just click the button and nothing happens. Is Jen still here? I'm trying to remember what it was that she called this thing. It was like the meatball cave or something like that. You can sort of see why. But anyway, here we are. Let's see if I can get this without using the organ at all. am a badass. Completely from memory. That deserves a celebratory sip of LaCroix, but I'm out, unfortunately. That's okay, though. We've only got 12 minutes of stream left. I'll deal. Okay, anyway. Selenite Gauge. They didn't really change much about this, so nothing really to complain about, except that they made it really pretty, so cool, cool, cool. One of the things that has been pointed out to me about the Selenite Gauge is that while it doesn't have the brothers' rooms in it, because they, you have shaved. Good, good, good. Eminem will probably leave you alone. Or, I should say, will complain about something else. Anyway, since there aren't brothers' rooms in the Selenite Gauge, they just have the pages scattered around seemingly random places. Cirrus's page is here in this sort of crystal stone forest thing, and Akenar's is in the oasis sort of place. But what's interesting about that is that in Myst 4, Akenar is his prison age is revealed to be an age called Haven, and Cirrus's is revealed to be one called Spire. And, you know, Haven is like an oasis. It's very lush and has lots of life and growing things, whereas Spire is a sort of a crystal palace-looking place at the which is revealed to be floating above a giant gas giant of a planet. So one wonders if they picked if when making Myst 4 they made those connections on purpose, or if it's just a coincidence. Now anyway, on to the puzzle that gets you to the Maze Runner. Now, it annoys me no end that they have these colored wires here, because people, I have seen people play this game, and they almost always try to read something into the colored wires, when, in fact, they're kind of just there to show that, yes, this is an electrical gadget, and the buttons have something to do with the other buttons. Let's see if I can do this from memory. Nope, that wasn't right. Shit. Nope, that wasn't it. I might have to actually solve this puzzle in order to solve this puzzle. That's interesting. Anyway, solving this puzzle is not too hard. You just have to go to the 5 locations, turn on the microphones. and then find them in the microphone findy thingy. How did I get stuck? Okay. Good, I didn't get stuck there for realsies. Ruined clock tower. Fun fact, that sound was originally made by a guy tying a socket wrench to a string and striking it, and then dropping the pitch way, way down. Not a socket wrench, a spanner wrench. Where's this light switch? There it is. Bats! Okay. Find the oasis. That's the crystal forest. What are you? No, that's the wind tunnel. Where's the oasis? Have I passed it? There it is. Okay, ruined clock tower. Crystal Forest, ruined clock tower. Now that we've locked them all in, crystal, water, wind, fire, time. Crystal, water, wind, fire, time. Why is the light off? No, this is not where we want to be. light is burned out, apparently. I don't think that's supposed to happen. Crystal. Oh, it's almost 20 o'clock, which means that it's time to raid out. Anyway, thank you everyone for joining me. I really appreciate it. I am going to figure out how to shut the stream down, which is a little different for me to do this time because of the new overlay. Give me 1 second here. There we go. And let me find a raid for you. Okay. Once again, thank you all for joining me. I really appreciate it. I will be back on, I think, Saturday with something else. I'm not sure what yet, though. We will find out together on Saturday and at the same time, same channel, 5 o'clock Mountain Time, 5 o'clock p.m. Mountain Time, 1700, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Thank you all so much for joining me, and let's raid.